It's got to be there.
All right, let's start. Hey guys, welcome! It's Friday and we're planting. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining us. So, a little bit about me. My name is Farmer Steph. I started Farm to Table Kids, which is a nonprofit educational farm camp in North Yarmouth, Maine. We teach little kids how to farm and we love it. So, it's almost spring, as you know, sun's shining, we're here in Maine and it's like 55 degrees. So we're rolling up our sleeves and we're going to start planting today. Couple things I just want to mention. This is meant to be fun. So if you have any questions at all, please shout them out as we go. I'll answer them. We also have Cameron Boston,
I'm here behind the camera.
from Coast of Maine, and he knows way more about soil than I do. But genuinely, he's an awesome brain to talk about soil and nutrients and things like that. So ask us any questions that you have as we go, and we're going to start getting going. So, things that you need a tray, something to plant into. You also need soil. I love, at Farm to Table Kids, we grow everything in Coast of Maine mix. For soil or seed starting, they actually have a seed start mix. You don't need a seed start mix to get going. This is just what we use. It's sterile and I like it. Other things you need are seeds. So, seeds that we're going to plant today, as you know, there are millions and millions, all kinds of different kinds of seeds. The seeds we're going to plant, you got to make sure it's the right timing. Okay, so I don't like to get too fussy about planting because, again, I plant with kids and I like to keep it fun and exciting. But you do have to be mindful about what you're planting and when you plant it. So right now in Zone 5B in Maine, we're going to be planting anything that on the back of the seed packet says plant 8 to 6 weeks. That's about the window that we're in right now. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to plant. And I know that a bunch of people are joining us from all different places and planting all different types of seeds. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to plant today. I chose these seeds because they're pretty universal and you'll be able to follow along and plant whatever you have. Did you have a question?
Did I have a question? No, I'm trying to read what the questions are if they're coming in. You know, I can only do one thing at a time.
So I'm going to show you what we're going to plant today. We're going to do tomatoes because everybody loves tomatoes. So I'm going to show you how to do those. We're also going to plant some basil. Basil is just a great crop to continuously sow. At farm camp, we plant basil and lettuce heads every 2 weeks on the dime. And that's to make sure we have a continuous harvest all throughout the summer. Other things we're going to plant today are peppers. Everybody loves peppers. If you do want to grow peppers right now, I would say this week you're in that window where it's kind of getting towards the end of pepper seed starting. So start your peppers right now. Okay? So those are the seeds we're going to start. I do want to talk about seeds for 1 second. No matter how many times you've grown, always read the back of the seed packet. Always. There's so much good information on the back of a seed packet, and it tells you exactly what to do. So, for example, this Johnny's basil, I love this basil. It's new for this year. I got it because it has it has mildew resistance on it. And so, if you read the back of it, it's going to tell you exactly what to do. How deep to plant the seeds, how many to plant per inch, and then when you space them out to the field, it tells you exactly how many inches to put the plants apart and all of that. This is my Bible. I follow it all the time. No matter how many times I've grown, you just read the back of the seed packet. It's all the information you need. Let's get our hands dirty! Does anybody have questions so far?
No questions yet, just a lot of love. I can see a lot of hearts.
Is my friend Brody in there?
Brody?
From Rhode Island? Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do this. And again, there are thousands of
they're on screen at the Montessori school, I think, with fifth. Wait a minute, it's not. I missed it. It's not the Montessori school. It's a fifth grade class.
Is it from
Autumn's.
Really?
It's Autumn's.
I just came from Montessori school. I spent my morning planting seeds with a bunch of preschoolers in Freeport. So to get started, what you're going to do is get your tray and then get your soil. So whatever soil you're using, I just go through because I like to get my hands
Don't you
dirty.
just like digging
I just
into
love
that?
it. So I break up the big clumps that we might have. And then I also am going to add just a little bit of water, guys. And the water is really just to wake the soil, you do not want your water to be waterlogged. Keep it moist, almost like a very wrung out sponge. So you want it to be just damp. You do not want it runny. You don't want it to look like brownie batter. You want it to look like this, just a little more wet. So,
Well, in the soil you're using is compost based, and it's blended to be specifically gentle, like with a baby, but it's got a lot of microbiology in there.
and as I'm doing this, guys, I am not compressing the soil. I'm keeping it nice and light and airy. We want the soil to be airy so that when we put our seeds in there, there's plenty of oxygen to reach the roots and keep them nice and healthy. This is the fun part. This is where you just get to get in there. You just start filling it in. So when I do this with my kids, we will put contractor bags out on the floor of the kitchen and just put these trays right on the contractor bags, and that way they can make a huge mess. And then at the end of it, you just pick up the contractor bags and throw them outside.
Isn't that the most fun about gardening, is making a huge mess?
I mean, that's why I
You know?
love it. Do you remember in the smell? I love the smell of soil. Do you remember like 80s Gap when they had like grass perfume and air perfume? I would just have like soil perfume.
80s Gap was after my time, just so you know.
Oh, me too. It's my birthday! It's my birthday Saturday! That's why we're planning. I always know that on my birthday, which is March 14th, that's when I always do my tomatoes. So, and some people love starting seeds really, really early, but we're here in Maine, and in Maine, honestly, if you start seeds too early, it stresses out the plant. And think about it, like you want your plant to be healthy, and if you start it so early, you've got to keep that thing healthy that much longer. So really be mindful of like when you plant. And again, just your back of the seed packet is going to tell you to plant 4 to 8 weeks out, and you'll be able to figure that out from your frost date. So just be mindful of that. But honestly, at March 14th, throw it all in. Just get it all started. Except brassicas and onions. It's too late for that. Everything else, go ahead. So we're nice and full. Now, do not pack down the cells.
I just heard from Ross that those perfumes were made in Vermont. Okay?
They were? I love Vermont.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Okay, so the thing that you have to have that I just realized I don't. I do! Look at this!
Oh, there you
have your
go.
plant markers. You have to have labels. You always think you're going to remember. You don't. Not at all. Okay, so tomato seeds, sometimes you only get 10 per packet. They can be expensive. This has 30 per packet, so there's a little packet inside of it. I'm going to crack this open. And what I'm going to do, because I know that there are 30 seeds here, I'm going to, with this tray here, I'm going to do one variety per row. And I am going to mark my rows with a label so I know exactly what's in each row. Now, keep in mind, some seeds will say that light requires germination. Again, read your seed packets. They're not trying to trick you. They will let you know. It'll be very clear. Strawflower, snapdragons, celosia, pretty much any of the beautiful flowers you like, a lot of times it requires light to germinate. Don't let that intimidate you. All that means is you don't have to cover the seeds. I will show you how to do that, but I want to point this out. Don't put seeds that require light with trays that require darkness, because your seedlings are going to sprout up at different times. If you look at this tray, this has rainbow chard in it, and it has peppers in it. The chard started sprouting before the peppers, and once your seedlings start to come up over the soil, you really, really, really want to remove the dome and have a fan come hit it and have fresh air hit your seedlings just to give them healthy fresh air. So all of the seeds we're going to plant today, except for strawflower, are going to go in this tray.
One of the things to reinforce is that reading of the packet. I know you already said it, but I think that's the basic thing, is looking at the zones and what is the seed and what does it actually need.
So what I like to do with these, sometimes I'll go through and just hand pack it, but when you know you only have a very small amount of seeds, I'm going to put them in my hand. And I'm going to try to do 2 tomatoes per cell. And that is, actually, you know what? We have 30 here, and I'm planting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, 5th grade class, if I have 6 cells and I'm planting 30 seeds, how many seeds in each cell? Okay, so I do know the answer to that. I'm just trying to make it fun for everybody.
We want some participation here.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna put 6 seeds in each of these cells. And you guys, you know what? With seeds, you don't have to be as mindful about spacing as you do when they go out to the field. When a tomato plant goes out to the field, I would never put a tomato plant less than 18 inches apart from another
Oh, 5.
tomato.
We got the answer 5.
5. Wait,
Wait.
Yay, thanks, guys. So when
That was Stephanie from Likeable Local.
Oh my gosh, hi, Steph. Thank you. So when you're planting your seeds, keep them nice and light on your soil. And I'm not going to cover these yet. What I do is I plant the whole tray, and then I go back and cover my seeds. So we're going to keep going. I've got tomato seeds here. I am so delicately, and again, I don't want to tamp this soil down. I want to keep it as loose as possible, but I'm so delicately just going to take my finger and tamp those seeds into the soil so that they don't move around when I mist it with my spray bottle. And then, guys, label. So these are red Siberian tomatoes. The other thing you have to do is write the date that you're planting, because we want to make sure, oh my.
You'd never be able to read it if I did it. So.
My handwriting's so bad. So we're gonna put our label here, and now we know what we planted. Okay. Next, we're gonna do some basil. This, actually, I'm gonna do the Johnny's basil.
This Johnny's stuff is right, most of it's right here. I
Great.
don't know.
Perfect. We'll work with this, it's fine. Okay, so this is a custom blend mixed from Botanical Interest. I love this blend because it has purple, green, lemon, and cinnamon basils in it. Basil seed you can buy pelleted. The difference between pelleted seeds and non-pelleted seeds is that this is what a non-pelleted seed looks like, and this is what, and this is what a pelleted seed looks like. So you can see the difference. And whenever I'm planting carrots, I love to always get pelleted seeds because you really do save money in the long run. So those are the difference between the two. And then for the basil, what I'm going to do, because these basil seeds are so tiny, all I'm going to do is sprinkle them like I'm putting sprinkles on a cupcake right onto the cells. And I'm probably, from how it's coming out through my hands, I think I'm probably putting like 5 to 10 seeds per cell. And what I want to mention about that is it is 100% okay to densely plant your seedlings, your seeds. When you take your seedlings from your tray and put them into the field, that's when you have to make sure they have space to grow.
Somebody just asked, what kind of seeds are the white ones?
These are pelleted carrots. This is a gold nugget pelleted carrot from Johnny's Seeds up in Winslow. I try to get all my seeds from Maine companies. We're a nonprofit, so we get donations from Johnny's and High Mowing in Vermont. Okay, so we've got our basil in here. Yeah, so what I was saying about densely planting, sometimes when you're getting seeds going, let me show you this tray here.
What is the difference reasoning for using trays with cells versus an open tray with no dividers?
Yeah, so just about organizing your plantings. So you can, actually it's a great timing. This is a row tray. So at my farm, I grow 600 snapdragons and 500 tomato plants. We do mass variety plantings. When I'm getting something like really finicky snapdragons going, they need light for germination. Their seed is like dust and will seriously fly away if you use a spray bottle on it. It's so finicky. So I like growing finicky things in these smaller row trays. And you can see I densely plant them. I plant a ton in here. And then once these seedlings have their true leaves, or when they're like 3 inches tall, then they get bumped up into a 3 or 4 inch pot. And then from that, it goes into the field. So once you're just waking them up now, it's okay to plant a bunch. They're just waking up. Okay, so we're gonna keep planting. We've got tomatoes, basil. Next we're going to plant peppers. So guys, get your peppers going this weekend. Peppers need like 8 to 10 weeks before your frost date.
Anna just asked how many tomato seeds per cell, but we did 5, right?
We did 5 per cell. With a size like this, I would do like 5 to 10. I wouldn't do any more than that. Their roots tend to get intertwined and you have to separate them. So I wouldn't do more than that. So about 5.
If you could see one flower bloom, even out of season, on your birthday, what would you like to see? That's Jonathan at Likeable Local.
Oh my gosh, that's so question. Oh, that's so exciting. Like your favorite baby? I don't know. For my birthday, who do I miss the most? You know what? I love snapdragons. I just do. They're New England hardy. They can go through snow. They're so delicate and finicky to start, but they're just such a bad. And I love them. They're great. They're such a good flower.
Yeah, and
Peppers. Pepper seeds, you guys. Start your peppers. What you want to do. Think about peppers. They love heat. So if you have a heat mat, definitely use it for your peppers and your tomatoes. For these peppers, again, I have 6 cells in about 50 peppers. So I'm just going to load my cells until I'm done with these. I'm going to go about 8 per cell on these, or 6 to 8. I think I'm going to do 6 because they're small. And then you'll notice these will germinate. I'm trying my best to separate them, but again, I'm about like non-fussy farming, and so if they're on top of each other, they'll figure it out. It's all right at this point. I'm so delicately just going to cover those. My finger. Great. Okay. I have extra peppers, so I'm just going to load up because I know that I'm going to use it. One thing to mention, guys, when you're planting, and if you have extra seedlings, it's an awesome thing to share with friends, to donate to your church, to do whatever. Like seeds make people happy. It's so nice to be able to fuss over something that's so life-giving and makes people happy, and it's just so great. So we're going to load this up with our peppers. And as I go, again, I'm just like delicately poking them into the soil. And
I'm going to interrupt you for a second because I have lost the feed of questions. In case people are asking on the Coast of Maine page, questions are not coming through.
Okay.
So.
And then, I don't know if we have questions on the farm to table kids.
So we're going to go back here. We're trying to broadcast on 2 live Facebook pages.
Okay.
And so
these peppers are all golden peppers, and they're going to go labeled right here.
So we have a tap water question. So Angie is asking, what's the best water to use? Our tap water isn't great, so we have been using spring water.
Oh, you don't have to do that. Really? Don't do that. No, it probably has all kinds of magical stuff in the non-spring water.
No, that's the same thing that and it's
at the farm. I get my water tested every year. We do a water test, and you know what? I actually do have to treat my water at the farm. So, and by treating it, we just have to shock our well. But that's because we're on a well, and so you absolutely do need to keep have an idea of how many minerals are in your water.
Yep.
But that's really easy. All you have to do, every town basically has this, and if you don't know where yours is in your town, you can ask your local city hall or town office. But there are so many labs that do simple water testing. Costs about $45 to $50. They do it in 48 hours. You'll get your results, and you'll be able to make accommodations from that. You might be surprised at how little. Just get it tested and see what happens. But spring water would be a lot to have to pay for it to water your garden with spring water. That's excessive. But
and also people get concerned with the pH, but if you're using a living soil, honestly, the pH will go up temporarily and come right back down to the soil's natural pH too.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to point something out to everyone. Things like peas. Peas do really great if you soak them overnight. You'll notice sometimes seeds might call for to be inoculated. That's when you take a little razor and you nick the seed to help break the hardening of the shell. I don't do that. I soak them in water overnight in a mason jar. If you do that, plant them the next day. I've definitely soaked them before and then forgot about them and was like, oh, maybe they'll be fine. You just plant them the next day. So with peas, you want to soak them overnight and then just put them in your trays. Peas grow really quickly. These were planted 5 days ago, and these are sweet peas here. So those will sprout really quickly if you put them in water 24 hours ahead of time. So right now we're going to do, I want to show you how to do the straw flowers. Straw flower. The straw flowers are one of those seeds that require light for germination. So if you're growing something like a snapdragon, straw flower, pincushion flower, celosia, any of those do not require being put down in the soil. So if you have something like that, you'll notice typically those types of seeds are very, very small. So that's a straw flower seed. And just to give you a point of reference, it's my seed catalog.
Yeah, there you go.
It's so fun.
What's this mess you're going through here?
This is like a rainbow of potential. This is the best. All right, a rainbow of potential. I love that. Okay, so these are snapdragon seeds, and I just want to show you because they are my favorites. But I mean, come on, it's like dust, you know?
Yeah,
so
that's
I
awesome.
just love that little seed turns into a big, beautiful, hardy New England onion.
That's awesome.
So, because snapdragons are like dust, and I'll use this seed because it's pretty hard. I'm going to go on the other side of this tray. And I'm going to I just want to make sure all of my dirt, all of my soil is in this cell because, again, these seeds are like dust and they fly away. So I'm just going to take it and I'm sprinkling them in here. And these, again, are very densely planted. The germination rate on seeds this small isn't outstanding because they sometimes will get like blown away or disturbed. Okay, so all I do is sprinkle them in there. And then because light requires germination, just tamp them down to make sure they don't get blown away. I personally always have a fan on my seedlings, and so I just don't want the seed to blow away. When I'm planting a mass planting, you might hear something called vermiculite. You don't need it, but if you have it, in some cases, I will cover this with vermiculite. Vermiculite is just a soil conditioner. Honestly, you don't need it. I've been growing seedlings for 15 years, and last year was the first time I used it. But because light requires germination, these are like little mirrors almost, but it reflects the light onto the seeds, and it will also make sure the seeds stay to the soil and don't get blown away if I were to take my spray bottle and water my seedlings, which is how I water my seedlings. So, okay, we've got our tray. How's everybody doing at home? Are people
So
planting at home?
I'm gonna have to look over here.
Okay, see if people have questions at
So
home.
they've got what? Okay, what is the best way? Oh no, that was water. Hi, honey. I was on the coast of Maine live. That's from Matthew, and but I don't. Unfortunately, like I said, I lost and I can't get the questions back on the coast of Maine live. So I apologize to anybody out there. That's Cameron's responsibility. It came off there. Nobody else's.
We're good.
You know.
All right, and because we already started a side that has that requires light, I am going to throw these straw flower seeds down because we're doing it. Because it's time. It's spring and it's time. For straw flower, I'm going to do about 10 in each of these cells because I can actually count these seeds, which is great. Awesome. Okay. And then I'm just going to tamp these down, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to cover your seeds. And next steps. So to cover our seeds, I didn't finish this tray, but for the purpose of the way I do it is you want to make sure you went just tamp down the seeds to make sure they don't move. And then, this is the way I teach kids. Again, this is fun for kids. Take your soil in your hand, and it's like sprinkling sprinkles on a cake, okay? Just go through.
Does Joey do that very meticulously too?
Just Joey? Yeah. He's one of those really fine, detailed students.
That's why I love Joey.
Exactly. So I'm just very lightly going through and covering my tray. And you can fuss over it if you want to, but you don't have to. Usually I'm planting seeds with like 20 kids around me, and so it's kind of a...
So you're talking and the kids are asking questions.
Yeah,
and
it's so fun.
more,
Like
yeah.
I planted this morning with 20 kids at Freeport Montessori. It was so fun.
I'm going back here to see if there's questions back here. Nothing
Yeah.
there. Okay.
Once we've got, what else can I plant over here? Because I have empty cells. So I'm going to add in zinnias. Okay. It's a little early for zinnias, but I have a greenhouse, so I'll just put them in there. But the reason why I said it's early for zinnias is because zinnias require 4 weeks out of frost. It says right here, transplant, 4 weeks out of frost. In our frost, I think we're at like a 6 to 8 week window here in Maine. It's always such a guess. But for these zinnias, I can put these in our greenhouse and they'll acclimate to the weather in there. So I'm gonna throw those in. Zinnia seeds are so nice to plant with kids. They're so nice and big. They're actually an awesome seed to collect with kids because you can really see them and the kids can really hold them. So I'm gonna throw these seeds down. We are doing, this will be great because if you start something like this now, let's see, what, March, April, May, these might be ready for Mother's Day. That would be fun.
Whoa.
Little zinnias for Mother's Day. And guys, that's what's so fun about planting. Like, you can pick a date and work your way back and be like, I wonder what I could plant in that window. And that's farming. It's so fun to be able to plan your garden and think about seeds and flowers in the off season, especially when you live in Maine and there's just like so much snow and gray and cold. I just love it.
I was
So-
thinking too that everybody, and they probably know this, but sometimes people don't, but your local cooperative extension that's usually through your state university is a great, wonderful resource for information too.
Mm.
And as always, at Coast of Maine, we're big on buy local. So your local independent garden center is going to have all your local information too. So don't hesitate to reach out to them or go to their store.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I work at a local nursery here in Maine in the off season, and yes, you can do soil tests, water tests. You can get as like into your soil and gardening as you want to be. Again, my approach here today is to keep it light and really top line for people farming with kids today. But if you want to get really into it, I highly recommend reading like Elliot Coleman's book is amazing. J.M. Fortier is incredible. Obviously, Flora, it's really pretty to look at. There's so many great things out there. But farming with kids is my stuff. Okay, so we've got our zinnias in here, and I'm just patting them down lightly into the tray. And I'm just going to go through again, tell your kids, cover them up, just like you're putting sprinkles on a cake. Doesn't have to be too fussy. But you do want to make sure they're covered. Do make sure that they are covered. Okay, great. And then I'm not covering those because those need light. Now I'm going to put my last label in there. Zinnia. Okay. And I always, if I do multiple rows, I like to mark how many rows that I did because the more information the better. And always mark the date that you planted it. And then when you're done, guys, give it a nice, gentle, so gentle mist to cover before we cover our seeds. Remove your seeds before you spread. Never, ever, never, ever get your seed packets wet or expose them to extreme heat or cold. It's just not healthy for the seeds and it will decrease your germination rate. So remove your seeds from the area and let's spritz. And this is just, we already added moisture to the soil before we planted. Guys, watch this. So I showed you how the snapdragon and strawflower seeds were so small, and then I added the vermiculite because I told you I like to top water, I like to mist, not top water. I like to mist with hot water or a spray bottle, but you can see the vermiculite kind of like blow away just by me doing that, and that's why I add that, because if I were misting those snapdragon seeds we just put down, they would go all over the place. So the other way to avoid that is you want to either use a very fine, really delicate mister to keep your soil moist, or bottom water. Bottom watering is absolutely the best, and I'll show you how to do that. So to bottom water, what you're gonna do, I use a really big cookie sheet. Stay right there, Cameron, I'll get it for you.
I'm staying here.
Whoops.
I'm gonna go over and check and see if there's any questions over here.
Okay, so this is what I use to bottom water. This is just a big old commercial cookie sheet that I have laying around. And all I do is I fill it with water. And you can tell we use this at farm camp. It's loud. So I fill it
what's
with
that?
water.
Some paint. It's beautiful. Very artistic.
Thank you. Most things we do are artistic. So this has this amazing Johnny's basil in it, my basil babies. And I just I bottom water these. So I fill the tray with water, and then I just let the tray sit in the water for about 10-15 minutes. I wait for all of the cells to be this dark color, and that way I know. Right now, not all the cells are the same color, so it's not equally moist. So this is gonna go back over to my station over here, where I have them sit. So guys, never take a watering can and hit this with a watering can. It'll turn to mud and you'll be sad. So just use either a light mister, I got this for $2 at Ace Hardware, or bottom water. Okay, the other way you can bottom water is, alright, this comes with a tray. You can fill it up and bottom water it that way. I have had so many situations where I've tried to move the tray with water in it and it just like folds and goes everywhere, so I prefer those two methods. Now, domes. Do we need domes? Do we need domes? I like domes. Yes, I say yes. Let's use them. The reason why I like domes is because basically you put this on top and it's going to create a nice greenhouse effect in there for you. Things like peppers, tomatoes, pretty much everything really wants that heat to get going, especially peppers. Peppers do not like.
So like going to Florida? Is that what it?
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
So they're going to Florida now, and they're just going to sit here for a bit. The best thing you can do for your seedlings is nothing. Like, leave them alone. So no, the best thing you can do, because I put mine in direct light, and I also use heat mats. So I actually water and mist mine twice a day. And that's because I put mine directly on heat. Cameron, do you want to see if...
Yeah, let's try going outside.
So we've got some seedling trays here on heat. And you can see the UV light is here. And I also have a heat mat down here. When I put it direct on, it really dries the cells out. So I try to top mist them twice a day. And I always keep water in these trays.
Oh, you do?
To give
Okay,
it
that's what I was
moisture.
going to ask you.
Yeah, I try to keep water in those trays all the time so there's constantly moisture at their roots so they don't dry out. Now, if you're using a heat mat, you don't have to have a heat mat. Don't feel frustrated if you don't have one. It helps for sure. I think it probably helps with germination by about 3 days. I think it probably helps sprout things 3 to 4 days sooner than they would otherwise. But again, you don't need to have a heat mat. For the amount that I grow and the scale that I grow for farm to table kids, I only have 2 heat mats. So it's really not, I mean, one of them's 4 foot long, but heat mats are great. Great if you have them. And because they're affordable now. They used to be expensive, but this heat mat and this dome I got at my local nursery for $30. So that's great. Other things to keep in mind, after we're planted and we've misted, we put our dome on, and we effectively have our greenhouse ready to start growing. I'm gonna then put it over on my rack, on my heat mat, and I'm gonna let it just chill. I'm gonna come back tonight, and I'm gonna look at the soil. If the soil looks dry, like the tray did over there, it's bothering me, but if the soil looks dry, it's probably dry. What I like to do is just put my finger a quarter of an inch in, and I feel just dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and water these. You don't wanna overwater your seedlings. They can get really damp, cold roots, and when that happens, sometimes they can get fungus, and you get what's called damping off. Damping off is when you have beautiful looking seedlings, but then right at the soil line, they just fall over and they look dead. And that's because they died. The reason why that happens is just a fungus. The best way to protect against that is to use sterile soil, like Coast of Maine or Pro Mix, but it's sterile soil.
Well, I will say it's not sterile.
Oh, okay.
It's not sterile.
But a bag mix, because I know that there are not any seeds in here from the previous year or powdery mildew from the other year.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's you want to make sure you don't have weed seed.
Weed seed or any kind of like biology from the previous harvest season in your soil. And then a fan. If you notice, I have a rotary fan going over there on my seedlings all day long, and that's because just a delicate little movement of air is going to keep air circulating around your seedlings. And every now and then when they move like that from the fan, that's great because it's working off any kind of like mold or mildew that might build up on the seed. So it's really good for soil health. Okay, Cameron, what else? Okay. So when you have your dome on and seedlings do start to come up, it's really important to take this dome off. Okay, so a lot of people like to keep the dome on for a while because they're like, it's a greenhouse, the plants love it. But what it does is it creates so much moisture, and the moisture can build up on the plant leaves, and it just stresses the plant out. So when you start getting your seedlings to pop up, and they're just about an inch, go ahead and take that dome off, and then let the air start hitting your seedlings so they can start adapting to what it's really like in the environment, and so they can start getting airflow around their stems.
So what I was going to add, okay, so you've done all this preparation.
Yeah.
And it seems that, we've been here for a while and you did a lot of different things. It's really pretty simple. What you've done is you've created a culture, the same thing you do with the family, the same thing you do with the school, and you've set the table in a sense for the plants to thrive.
Yeah.
Once you've done this, you just have to, there's not a lot except you give them some attention for them to grow on their own. That's what you've done, right?
Yeah, like really, this is hard for the kiddos. So for kiddos, what you want to do is have a garden journal, okay? Because this is my garden journal, and every day that I plant, I write down the date. No, you can't see my notes. There's so many. I'll show you. It's the date, what I planted, the variety I planted, about how many seeds I planted, and I then put what tray I planted it in. And so you can see all the different things that I've got going on and what date I planted it. So that way I have an Excel sheet.
That's excellent.
And it has when I planted, and then from reading my seed packet, it tells me 75 days till germination. So I know that if I plant something today on March 14th, 75 days from now, I can be expecting something from that plant. So, that's farming. It's so fun, you guys. Genuinely, if you have grown before, keep it up, share with friends, keep doing it. It's such a great way to spread love, isn't it? Just like, I really hope you guys have a great time with it this season. Follow Farm to Table Kids, follow Coast to Maine, ask us any questions as we go. We're just having fun out here. We really enjoy what we do, and we welcome you to come along with us. So we're going to be opening the farm at Farm to Table Kids a lot this summer, opening up to our community for Pick Your Own, CSAs, and things like that. And I know we're doing a ton with Coast to Maine down at the farm for special events this summer. So we do hope to connect with you in some way. We want to show you our garden, so visit anytime. And then show us yours, okay? So if you planted today, guys, take a shot, show us your garden, post it, and if you tag Farm Table Kids in Costa Maine has awesome t-shirts they just printed. I'm throwing you in, I'm doing it.
Okay, t-shirts.
Costa Maine has
We
awesome
wanna see it.
t-shirts. They'll send you a t-shirt. I'll throw in a Farm Table Kids hat. Show us your gardens, and we'll pick a lucky winner for a Farm Table Kids hat and a Costa Maine shirt.
Steph, this was awesome. I think it was really informative.
Awesome.
Thanks our audience for joining us, and don't hesitate to ask any of us questions.
Yeah.
The weather is amazing, and Steph is amazing, and we can't wait to do this again.
It's going to be so fun. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy season!